close, dude. So you see the sunlight here. In about 1 hour, the sun will be directly overhead. These cars have been here for over a month. Technically, at night, there's not supposed to be any cars in here unless you are paying, like I am, for monthly parking. It used to be that if your car was left here for like 2 days in a row, they would tow it away. But this car has been here for over a month. And there was like 3 or 4 more cars here like this. So look at this. Small kind chop shop going on here. So this is at Alamoana Shopping Center. Look at this. Crazy. Two cop cars here, that's good. So the lady that I have the contract with for the monthly parking here, me and someone else who has monthly parking here, pointed out to her about those cars, and she was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm aware of it now, but it's been about a month and nothing has happened. So I don't know if maybe a body shop is paying to have them there, but that's not what it seemed like when I spoke to her. It seems like they've just been abandoned. Because I was telling her, it sends a bad message to everyone here, because there's been a lot of break-ins into cars here. And so, you know, if you can see that there's like 4 or 5 stripped cars that just sit there day after day, that sends a bad message to everybody else. That girl is there every day for like the past 6 months to a year. See these crosswalk things, they used to have this sticker here that explains that, see the red hand? So you can walk, see how the red hand is flashing? So when that red hand is flashing, you're not supposed to start into the crosswalk. And then the countdown timer is to let people know, like especially like elderly who are slow walkers, to let them know how much time they have in order to complete their crossing. But as soon as that red hand starts flashing, you're not supposed to enter the crosswalk. So when it's white like that, you can walk and you can enter the crosswalk. But as soon as it starts flashing like that and it's counting down, you should not enter the crosswalk. The countdown timer is just to let people know how much time they have to get all the way across. And so these used to have these stickers on here that explained that, but most of them are missing and this one is faded. So I have instances in Waikiki where you're trying to make a left turn and you can't make a left turn while there's people in the crosswalk, and people keep entering the crosswalk all the way down to like 2 seconds left on that clock, and as soon as it gets to 0, then your light turns red, and then you and all of the cars behind you don't get to go because you couldn't make your left turn while there were people in the crosswalk, and there was people illegally entering into the crosswalk while the red hand was flashing. And then if you say something to them, they yell at you, "No, I still have 2 seconds left." No, you're not supposed to be entering the crosswalk at all while the red hand is flashing. What do you think a flashing red hand means? Go? No. But nobody enforces it, and that's the problem with everything nowadays, is the lack of enforcement emboldens people to just keep breaking the law. And if you're able to get away with small crimes like that, then it emboldens you to do even bigger crimes until you get all the way up to carjackings and murders. Oh, here's one. You can actually read this one. Don't start if started, finish crossing. So So the white men start crossing, the red hand don't start. So I've been saying that we need to go to Singapore style enforcement, where they enforce everything. There's a t-shirt that they sell in Singapore that says Singapore is a fine city, and then it shows symbols for all the things that you're not allowed to do that they'll fine you for, and it's all the way down to chewing gum. I don't think you're even allowed to chew chewing gum because it runs the risk of you spitting it out on the sidewalk. I had a friend who said that he got a ticket for not flushing the toilet, the urinal, in a public restroom. So somebody must have turned him in, but so yeah, a lot of these fines have to do with cleanliness. So you can imagine if it's any more than that, and you know, the rules for drugs there are really strict. Like any kind of drug, you go to jail. But part of the problem is that there's not enough police to enforce all of these little things. But we pay taxes. I mean, that's what the taxes are for, is those kinds of services that helps protect us. And of all the things, of all the stupid things that they spend our taxes on that we don't even want, like the $13 billion 20-mile rail line that nobody's using hardly. They should be using our taxes for things like that, to help protect us from the murders and the carjackings and the car thefts and the home break-ins and the business break-ins. So they should use that tax money to hire more police. I mean, I am not in favor of, you know, a big government that is, you know, ever controlling your freedoms, but I mean, that is something that we need, and that's why we have a government, is to provide services like that, because you can't go out and protect yourself. You know, you'd be like the wild west, everybody walking around with a gun in order to defend themselves. You know, I'm pro Second Amendment, that you should be able to have a gun to deter your government from becoming rogue and putting their boot on your neck, but we shouldn't have to defend ourselves from everyday crimes like that. That's what we pay the police for. That's what we pay taxes to the government for. And all these homeless, they should be doing something about that. I mean, it's, look at all this stuff on the sidewalk. Any normal person wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, I got arrested twice for street performing in Waikiki, where I was providing something useful, but these guys are allowed to strew their trash on the sidewalk. Look at the park over there. All of that. So the government should be doing something to help these people and make them stop doing this. And the churches should be helping too. That's why churches have tax exempt status. It's because in the past the churches would help people like this, but nowadays the churches are just getting rich and they're not helping people like this. Oh yeah, every once in a while some of the churches will have a food line once a day where they hand out free food, but they're not really helping. Some of the places that I go to, there are so many churches. Like every corner you turn, there's a church. I made a post the other day that churches should not get tax exempt status if there's homeless people, I said within a 20-mile radius of their church, but I mean it would depend on the population density of the area. But if there's homeless people within the area of your church, then you should not have a tax exempt status, because you should be helping these people. That's why we give you a tax exempt status. That's why we let you not have to pay taxes, is because you're doing something, or you should be doing something for the community. Well, here you go, they're actually doing something. So the police are busting up these homeless over there. They've got their trucks. Oh, look at all the shopping trolleys in the truck, and then their stuff, they're just throwing it away. I remember at one time the city was scared to do that because the ACLU was suing for violating their rights, you know. The ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. So the city was scared of getting sued by them. Look at all those shopping trolleys over there. There must be like 10 shopping trolleys, and then look at all the trash scattered on the sidewalk. So good on Mayor Blangiardi for actually doing something. This is another rat's nest over here. Looks like they cleared that out as well. It's down to just one guy now. Used to be a whole tent city over here. And then down in the river, there was people living in the river and underneath the street. So yeah, I think Mayor Blangiardi is kind of a Republican. Of course, in those kinds of seats, you don't, ooh, look at this, you don't say your political affiliation in small things like city council and mayor. But yeah, it's pretty gross. There's actually fish in there. I can't believe there's fish in there. And then people go and live underneath too. Look inside there. And then this drains into the Alawai Canal, which then drains into the ocean. So there's people in there. I heard a guy like sweeping. This Jack in the Box over here, certain times during the day, they actually lock the doors. And then they do drive-through only because they don't want crazy people coming inside. I've noticed that in the past maybe 5 or 6 years that in Waikiki, when I'm like waiting to cross the street, you can't stand still because you're getting bit on the ankles by these like biting flies, and we didn't used to have that. And I blame that on the homeless too, because the homeless go through the trash and they dump food out onto the ground, like to feed the pigeons or whatever they come across that, you know, is food or whatever, and they don't want it. They dump it on the ground, and so, you know, that causes the bugs and stuff like that. And it's a health issue too, because then the homeless people are laying on the street, and while they're sleeping, the bugs are biting their ankles, and then it gets infected. You see a lot of these homeless people walking around with bandages on their legs because it gets infected, but then it bites us too. So it's not only a nuisance in every other way, it's also a health risk. So they busted up the homeless camp over there, and now they just all moved over here. That tree is on the list for the protected trees